Welcome to Weekday Somatics 14, maybe. Sounds good. Um, I'm pretty excited about today. Let's get right to it. So let's, if at all possible, please try this sitting. But if it's not possible for you to do this sitting without it being strenuous, then don't. Remember that we're exploring the edge between comfort and discomfort. I find that that's a very, very good exploration. It's very revealing. If we push ourselves too far into what we call discomfort, it doesn't work nearly as well. So it's completely runs counter to what it is that most of us have been taught in our lives, which is just try harder. Try harder doesn't work here. So be gentle. That's very important. Okay. If you cannot do this sitting, then you may do it in a different position. Some of it may be challenging to do, depending on what we get to. I always have a lot in mind, and then we do very little of it. But I'm hopeful that we can get to some of the stuff that I'm really excited about. And if so, some of that will work best if you're sitting. But like I said, you can do it lying on your back, and a good portion of it will work equally well. So let's find our starting position, and we want to find a posture that we can inhabit with grace and ease and poise. There's maybe that's way too much to ask, sorry. But that's a direction. It provides a direction. So let's imagine this possibility of grace and ease and poise. And I'm joking when I say it's way too much. It's not way too much. It's totally a possibility. It really is. And that's what I'd like us to all really open to, is that possibility. That we can actually inhabit this present posture, whatever the posture is, with grace, ease, and poise. I didn't say strain or effort anywhere in that list. Grace, ease, and poise. Really open to that. Really notice whatever ways that you habitually dismiss that possibility. The ways that you say, no, not for me, not now. Here's all the reasons why not. And just, you know what, I'm gonna screw it. Can you just take that attitude toward all those negative attitudes for a moment? Just screw it. Forget about it for a moment. Just open now to the real possibility presently that you could actually discover grace, ease, and poise. So if we're able to do so, we're sitting, but whatever posture we're starting from, let's set ourselves up for being able to be here restfully for the next 30 minutes. I'm closing my eyes for a moment to tune into that. If that's appropriate for you, then go ahead and do that. We are not sure what we're gonna start with. Oh, I think I know what we're gonna start with. So you can do this with eyes closed for the first little bit. If you don't want to have eyes closed, then don't have eyes closed. That's totally optional. I find that having eyes closed is helpful just to tune into the pure somatic experience. Some of this stuff I review often, but it's worth reviewing because we want to set ourselves up for maximum benefit. So let's just check in and see, where are we making unnecessary effort? Maybe by now we recognize some familiar ways in which we make unnecessary effort. But notice where the body is in contact with the supports underneath, whatever that is, the bed, the floor, the chair, whatever you're resting upon. And notice, are the parts of the body that are in contact with that support, are they straining? Are they tense, contracted, numb? Are they attempting to lift your body away, to protect you, to armor you, to keep you on guard? And is it possible? It is possible. So let's explore the possibility. Let's explore this possibility now, softening, releasing that unnecessary effort so that we can just allow the parts of the body that are in contact with the support to be fully supported. So I notice the buttocks, the thighs in contact with the floor. I notice where there's a kind of gripping, a lifting, a hesitation to fully release into that support. And I just explore the possibility of releasing that unnecessary effort. I find that the release of the unnecessary effort is in the opposite direction of my habit. My habit is to contract, even though I call it something different. I'm not fully consciously aware of it normally because it's an unconscious habit. But when I observe it, I start to notice when I observe it in this way, I start to notice that I'm doing something. And if I just simply don't do that, then naturally my body begins to settle and release, and that release is in the opposite direction of what I habitually do. So it's unfamiliar. My brain says it's uncomfortable. My brain says it's scary. It says I might lose my balance. I might fall over. I might look like a fool. All of the things that my brain might tell me to try and help me, to protect me. But in this moment, I can just choose not to believe that. So we'll start with an exploration, like we haven't already started. We've already started, by the way, but next we will explore the movement of some movement of the tongue. So we'll do two movements of the tongue. Why I need to tell you that now, I don't know, because we're only going to do one at a time. So let's, first of all, let's explore the movement of the tongue where the tongue sticks out of the mouth. So to set yourself up for this, allow the jaw to release. We've explored releasing the jaw previously, so maybe you have some more familiarity with how to do that. Don't strive to do it perfectly, but just allow the jaw to release to whatever extent is possible. So you're not pulling it open, you're just allowing it to release. And then maintaining that gentle release, that softness of the lower jaw, explore slowly sticking the tongue out. And stick the tongue out as far as you can comfortably do without straining. So observe what you do with your eyes and your nose and your jaw and your throat and your chest and your shoulders and your neck and the rest of yourself as you stick the tongue out, and see, can you allow yourself to remain at rest as you stick the tongue out? So minimal effort, just the absolute minimum effort to stick the tongue out, nothing more. See if you can do that. And then slowly release that effort, that very small effort, and allow the tongue to come back to rest wherever it does. Now, maybe you find that the tongue just rests by hanging out. Maybe you find that the tongue rests by retracting slightly back into the mouth. Whatever you find, just explore that. And we'll do this together at our own pace. So everybody at your own pace, we'll repeat that. So we're going to just release the jaw, allow the jaw to remain released throughout to the best of our ability. And then we'll stick the tongue out while keeping everything else at rest. So we're not straining in the eyes, we're not straining in the neck, we're not straining in the throat. We're just becoming sensitive to the movement of the tongue, this single movement of the tongue, just this sticking the tongue out. And then allow the tongue to remain sticking out for a moment, however long it's comfortable. See what else you can release so that it can be even easier, softer, more pleasurable, and then release that whatever effort you are still making to stick the tongue out, and allow the tongue to come more fully to rest, whatever that looks like and feels like for you. So we'll do that together several times. Just repeat that over and over, slowly, gently, with awareness. As you continue to do that, I'll just add a few observations that may be useful to you. I notice when I do that my jaw releases more. So if you notice that your jaw releases more, allow the jaw to release. Don't try to hold the jaw in a fixed location. Just allow the jaw to be soft. So the jaw may move, but don't move the jaw, if that makes sense. So just allow the jaw to be soft. And if the movement of the tongue releases the jaw further, and therefore the jaw opens further, that's fine. But see if you can get clearer on the movement of the tongue and how that's different or the same as the movement of the jaw. So we might have ideas about it. Anatomically, there may be a correct answer, but let's find out experientially for ourselves in this moment, whatever it is that we can discover. So let's do that a few more times. Of course, you rest from this whenever you need. Don't strain on account of I said so. One other thing, the tongue and the throat are connected. We'll maybe get clearer on this in a moment, but do be aware that as you stick the tongue out, there, when it comes to forward and backward movement of the tongue, there are, anatomically speaking, as far as I'm aware, there are two ways in which the tongue is attached that can that operate in opposition to one another. So as you stick the tongue out, the part of the tongue that attaches in the throat needs to release, needs to lengthen, to soften. So you may find that the throat also softens and opens as you stick the tongue out. See if it's possible for you to maintain that openness and softness of the top of the tongue all the way down into the throat as you explore in this way. You may find that the tongue is able to release even more if you have that awareness. Now, when you next come to rest, where the tongue is just resting, neither sticking out nor actively retracting, but it's just at rest, whatever way you understand that in this moment. Let's now do another movement with the tongue. We'll move the tongue in the, well, I'll call it the opposite direction. I don't know, a different direction, which is that we can take the tip of the tongue, and we can bring the tip of the tongue toward the throat. Before you do that, let me just allow the tongue to remain at rest here and just imagine how you might do that. So allow the tongue to be at rest and then imagine how you might bring the tip of the tongue toward the back of the throat in the most effortless and pleasurable way possible. Maybe that's clear to you, maybe not. As you imagine that, what I'd like to invite you to is to imagine doing that while maintaining the same openness in the throat. So hopefully, perhaps, in the exploration of sticking the tongue out, you started to notice a release in the throat, an openness in the throat. As I say, the tongue is connected to the throat, to the muscles in the throat. And there, it turns out, anatomically, as far as I know, there are two ways to move the tongue in this backward direction. One is not actually to use the tongue, but rather to retract the throat, the larynx, which draws the tongue back. And that will create a kind of a sense of restriction in the throat. So what I'd like us to explore is this possibility of moving just the tongue, the tongue itself, using the tongue muscle to bring the tip of the tongue toward the back of the throat, while maintaining the softness and openness inside the throat. So if you've imagined that now, let's begin to explore actually doing that. So we're going to continue to allow the jaw to release, allow the face to be soft, allow the neck to be soft. Notice the support under you. Notice if you're unconsciously indulging in any of your habits of tension, numbness, armoring, and just give yourself permission to release and soften, to really feel that support. And then let's explore actually moving the tongue in this way. So keeping the throat soft and open, explore moving the tongue so the tip of the tongue moves toward the back of the throat. It may be a small movement, so don't exaggerate it. Just let it be something you can do, whatever you can do with confidence and comfort. Might be very small. Let's repeat that many times, slowly bringing the tip of the tongue toward the back of the throat and then slowly releasing to rest. Remember that you can rest whenever you need to. And in fact, let's all allow the tongue just to rest now. Allow the jaw to be at rest. Allow the eyes to be at rest. Allow the cheeks to be at rest. Allow the throat to remain at rest. And just notice what this experience is like. Notice what's different now from 20 minutes ago. And if your eyes are closed, then I'd like to invite you to begin to slowly transition to open eyes. Remember that, at least from my perspective, it's really valuable to allow for that transition to be very smooth rather than sudden, so that you can remain aware of this spaciousness or stillness that perhaps you're more easily aware of with eyes closed, that you can remain aware of that in a smooth way with eyes open. And it's I'm seeing the time, and I can see that we're not going to have time today to do even a fraction of what I had planned. But what I would like to do is to begin to explore something, and then we can resume that exploration tomorrow. So it will be kind of a progressive exploration. We'll pick it back up tomorrow. So if you're, once your eyes are open, again, don't rush that, but once your eyes are open, slowly, see if you can do this slowly with awareness so that you don't just fling yourself into a new position. See if you can slowly bring your arms and your hands so that your the pinky side of your hands it is touching. So the left hand and the right hand are touching on the pinky side, little finger side. And and then see if it's possible. I hope I'm going to lower my hands just so that I'm not blocking the sound so that you can hopefully you'll still be able to hear me. Um, See if it's possible for you to touch the pinky sides of the hands and simultaneously to allow the elbows to touch. And when you if you do this, then the hands will be in front of your face. I'm turning to the side so that I'm not blocking the sound. Well, I think I'll just turn my body slightly so that I can do this at the same time. So that may be easy for you, or that might be really challenging for you. You might uh, find that to be too much to do right now. If so, modify to make it more restful. So if bringing the elbows together seems too strenuous, see if you can do it without trying to bring the elbows together. Don't strain to bring the elbows together. But in the long run, uh, you will likely find that it is possible to allow the elbows to come together in front of the chest in this way, with the sides of the hands together in this way, and that it could be non-strenuous. So the question to ask yourself possibly is this, or a question to ask yourself is this: why do I think that this is hard? Why do I think that this is uncomfortable? Why is it that I don't want to do this? Why is it that I'm hoping that this will be over soon? And how, these are a lot of questions. Sorry, it's not just one question. How am I doing that? How am I doing that? How am I making this hard for myself? Now, don't strain. So if you're straining, ease up. And if you need to just rest, like letting everybody just rest for a moment. Just let your arms rest in your lap for a moment. That's a lot. This is why I can't do all the things that I have planned, because that'd be too much. I just get so excited because this is a really cool thing that I want to share with you. A couple days from now, you're gonna thank me because it's awesome. There's a lot of steps to it. Just at the beginning. Now, if that's too strenuous for you right now, then just keep resting until you're ready. But if you're able to do that again without it being too strenuous, then slowly bring your arms together again in that way. So how am I making this more difficult than it needs to be? Well, this particular posture really spreads the shoulder blades. In order to do this, it requires that the shoulder blades can spread. Not only that, it requires that the chest can soften, because if ironically, or paradoxically, I'm not sure what the correct word is there, but if the chest is chronically tense, then this posture is going to reveal that. And it's going to reveal where it is that I'm holding chronic tension in the upper back, and it's going to reveal where I'm holding chronic tension in the chest. If I'm fatiguing in either location, then what it's revealing to me is that I'm doing that. I'm holding unnecessary tension there. So what I want to start to become curious about is, do I need to make that effort in order to hold this posture? What effort is actually required? Turns out it's different than what I think. Doesn't require that I'm holding tension, at least not much tension in the chest. Definitely doesn't require any tension in the back. So can I allow the shoulder blades to soften? Can I allow the upper back to soften? I don't need to do anything there. My brain tells me something different. My brain tells me that I need to keep holding on, but when I become aware that I don't actually need to make that effort, then I can choose to soften. And it's an amazing thing. This is a really, really amazing thing to discover, to become confident that I don't need to make the effort that I think I need to make. I promise you, when this clicks for you, if it hasn't already, this will change your life. I'm not exaggerating. When you recognize what I'm pointing to here, that it can be easier than you think, it will change your life. You'll start to realize that you just don't need to make hardly any of the effort that you're accustomed to making. Life doesn't have to be so painful. Please rest if you need, don't strain. In fact, let's all rest, and we'll leave it there for today, because I'm so excited about this one. I want to just keep going, but that will give us a nice start for that sequence. And then we'll resume tomorrow with that. So just continue to remain aware of whatever it is that you've become aware of through this exploration. Notice the habit of suddenness, of violence, that a violence that's in some ways subtle, and so most of us don't even notice it, but it's a violent, sudden state change. If you're anything like me, even a little bit, you can recognize what I'm pointing to. I observe it in other people, so I'm 99.99999% sure that this is a universal or nearly universal human experience. And this is another thing that when you recognize this will change your life. I'm not exaggerating. It's a really significant insight that's possible, to recognize the sudden, violent state change habit that you have. So we've been sitting here or lying here, whatever posture we've been in. And then you you can observe when I say, okay, now we're done for today. Notice how you produce I'm done. How do you know I'm done? There's some kind of shift, some kind of thing that you do to change state, and it's sudden. And you may not recognize it immediately. Some of you do, but some of you might not recognize that it's violent. But if you start to observe, you'll see it is violent. It's violent in its suddenness, and it's violent in its uh, unconsciousness, total disregard for anything that's been discovered through awareness. It just it throws anything that's been, so strange word I'll use, but I'll use it anyway. Anything that's been gained through awareness is thrown in the trash through this violence. When I become aware of the habit of violent and sudden state change, then I have necessarily, in order to become aware of that, I have to, on some level, be aware of the stillness. So if I then can remain simply with the stillness, aware of the stillness, rather than indulging my habit of sudden violent state change, that changes everything. It actually, I don't need to say anything more about it. You discover for yourself. But I'm as certain as I can be about anything. I'm certain that this is a very powerful insight that everybody here can discover. So, with that, I'm going to end the recording of the first part of today's meeting. For those who are here live, we'll stay on for the Q&A. For those who are joining through the recording, thanks for joining, and we'll do this again tomorrow, so I'll be posting another one tomorrow.